A few weeks ago, we had a pretty big shift for our family. My daughter started pre-K. Now we're all waking up at 6:30 a.m. and by 7:15 my wife is headed to take my daughter to school. I go out for a run, get home, showered, and I'm usually here in the studio by 8:30. In this new routine, I've started doing something that I haven't done consistently for a while, and that's practice. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're probably thinking you're a full-time guitar player and you don't practice. What's that all about? Now, this might not be completely accurate. Obviously, I'm always playing guitar, whether I'm learning songs for a gig or actually playing those gigs, doing sessions, doing remote tracking here in my home studio, or even working on videos for YouTube. I'm constantly playing and have a guitar in my hands. But what I really mean is focused practice time, where I'm working on more technical aspects or learning new vocabulary or new licks, that kind of practice. Today, I'm gonna walk you through the general ideas of my practice routine, what I'm kind of focusing on, what I'm thinking about, how I figure out what I wanna practice. Before we get into it, if you haven't already, definitely hit that subscribe button. Here on the channel, I do a lot of guitar-related content as well as recording content geared towards guitarists. This fall, as I'm playing more live gigs and starting to tour again, I'm also gonna be doing some vlogs, kind of documenting all of that. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, definitely hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future content. All right, let's get into it. About a month ago, Positive Grid reached out to me and they sent me this. This is the Spark 40. It's the brand new Pearl edition that should be out sometime next month, around middle of September. If you're not familiar with the Spark 40, it's basically a 40-watt modeling amp with lots of effects. It acts as a Bluetooth speaker, as an interface. It also has a lot of great iPad integration that can play backing tracks or download different tones. It does so much. I feel like I'm just starting to scratch the surface of everything that it can do. So why am I talking about this? I thought we were talking about practice routines. Well, there's a couple reasons. One, this video is sponsored by Positive Grid, but like any sponsored video I do, I let the companies know up front that I want to be able to give my honest opinion of the product and honest feedback. So that's what you'll hear in this video. Now, I say that to say that the other reason why I'm talking about this is that it's honestly affected my practice routine in a really great way. Some of the features in this thing have really helped me get the most out of my practice time and kind of practice and work on things in new and different ways that make it a lot more fun. So as we're going through some of this, I'm going to be mentioning some of the features that this thing has. Not to say that you can't do them without this thing, but for me, it's made it really easy to just integrate these different things into my routine. It makes those things easy to do and just go from one thing to the other really quickly. The first big idea I want to talk about when we're talking about our practice routine is just awareness. You have to have some kind of awareness of what you need to be better at or what you want to get better at and kind of let that dictate what your practice routine looks like. I'm all about practical practice. I want to practice things that are going to help me on my gigs or help me in sessions, things that I'm actually going to use. For me, practicing the different modes of the harmonic minor scale or some really complex jazz thing isn't going to be really helpful for me. I'm not playing that kind of music and I'm just not going to use it. So practicing those kinds of things, working on those kinds of things, it might be fun, but it's not necessarily going to be practical and be something that I'm going to use every day. The other thing with this is that it's going to always be changing. My practice routine is always going to be morphing and changing depending on what I need to work on, maybe depending on what gig I'm doing. Maybe I need to work on a certain style a little more or a certain technique more for a certain gig that I have coming up. So my practice routine is always going to be changing. It's always going to be trying to look ahead and see what I need to improve on. Two of the big ideas that I've been focusing on lately are building speed and accuracy, as well as developing more vocabulary or my ability to play different musical ideas in a solo or just otherwise. Now, when we're talking about technical exercises to build up speed, or really anything, in my opinion, I always want to make sure that I'm using a metronome. This makes sure that I don't develop any bad timing habits or bad rhythm or anything like that. And that's one cool thing about the Spark is that it has a metronome built into the app. or if you have another metronome app that you like to use, I prefer one called Time Guru that does a lot of cool things. I can play it through the Bluetooth speaker in this thing. The Bluetooth integration is really great and really solid. So that aspect of this has been super helpful for my practice routine. Some of these specific exercises that I've been doing to build speed and accuracy, I actually got from a guy named Stein, who's here on YouTube. I'm going to link his channel down below. He's got lots of great exercises for building up hand strength and building up speed, and he just seems like a really nice guy. So definitely go support his channel if you're looking for some different exercises or some different things about technique. Another thing that I've been focusing on in my practice routine is arpeggios. Now, I feel like this kind of bridges the gap between a technical exercise and a more musical one, or one that is going to help me build vocabulary. One cool thing that I've been doing with this is, say I practice my arpeggios in the key of A major. Different inversions, find my way around those. And then I will use the Spark and the iPad integration to either find a backing track just all on one chord, or even create my own to kind of practice some different musical ideas with those arpeggios. Now, obviously, I'm not creating, a new musical masterpiece, but it's allowing me to practice those shapes, get some different musical ideas under my fingers, and to do that in a musical way, not just to a metronome, but with some kind of backing track. That's one thing that I've found really cool about the Spark and all the iPad integration, is just the ability to find different types of backing tracks and different styles. It seems like there's just a ton of them on there. I haven't even explored them all. But if you're looking to work on a particular style or even a particular key or certain kind of scale, there are tons of tracks that can help you practice those things. And again, that's one cool thing about the Spark that I've really enjoyed and has really kind of been a game changer for my practice routine. I know as I work on different things and different styles that I can find some kind of backing track to help me work on those things in a little more musical way. Now, again, you don't need the Spark to do that. You can find things on YouTube or elsewhere. But for me, having it all integrated into one package is really helpful and makes it really quick and easy to get to practicing. That second big concept that I mentioned, just the idea of building more vocabulary, that's something I wish I had been doing more of through the years. All my years of playing guitar, I wish I had done more transcribing, more figuring out solos and different kinds of parts, because it has such an impact on our playing. It's funny how you can learn a solo, and even if you're not playing that solo note for note, some of the things in that solo will just naturally come out in your playing. You'll hear bits and pieces of those things just come out from time to time. And so I think that by doing this kind of thing, by learning different types of licks, learning different solos or different types of parts, we're kind of giving ourselves more language to use when we create music or when we're playing music with other people. One way that the Spark is super helpful for this is, again, you can search for a song and it will pull up the YouTube video of it. And then you can even slow it down. You can go to half speed or 0.8 times the amount of speed for the track, and it makes it easier to learn. So again, it's kind of an all-in-one solution. You're hearing your guitar and you're hearing the track all come through the Spark. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful and it gave you a little insight into my practice routine. Even over the last few weeks of working on this stuff a little bit each morning, I've definitely seen improvement. And that's the whole point, right? As you practice, make sure that you're varying things. I think this is one really big idea about a practice routine in general, is just making sure that you're focusing on some technical aspects as well as some more musical aspects. And then also finding ways to bridge those gaps so that you're bringing those two big ideas together. If we were to only focus on the technical aspects, then we're going to miss out on some musical ones, or vice versa. So make sure you're getting a little of both and being able to combine those things together. That's gonna do it for this video. Again, a big thank you to Positive Grid for sponsoring this video and sending me the Spark. It really has been super useful in my practice time and really helps me make the most of it. All right, until next time, I'll see you out there.